Hi everyone, and welcome to this very special presentation I've entitled How to Turn a $5,000 Account into as much as $1 million in 5 years or less with the powerful cash flow combination strategy. What I want to do today is I want to introduce you to one of the most powerful concepts in all of trading. This concept provides traders with the best risk-reward metrics and growth potential of anything available anywhere at any cost. It is more powerful and safer than the best real estate strategy. It has astronomically better risk-reward metrics and probabilities than any crypto investment, with every bit of the growth potential. And if you're looking to become a $1 million trader, I believe this gives you a greater probability of reaching your goals than anything else out there, and it's not even close. If I knew of something more powerful than this with less risk, I would be telling you about it right now. So during this video, I'm going to show you how any trader can grow a small account into a large account with very little risk and very little effort. In fact, I'm just going to warn you now, you can implement this approach and geometrically grow your account while spending as little as 1 hour or less per week. That is how much effort this requires. And the secret to the power of this concept is the combination of a low risk, high probability option strategy with a turbocharged compounding plan. Listen, wealth is not created with a holy grail type strategy. Wealth is created when you scale a solid strategy. Let me give you an example. I recently spoke with a person who started a real estate strategy back in 2018. He bought one house that year. In 2019, he bought 2 houses using the same strategy, made a few changes. In 2020, he bought 10 houses. In 2021, he bought 50 houses. And then by the time he got to 2024, he now has 212 houses and is netting a $101,000 profit every month. And he showed me the spreadsheet, and it was very, very interesting to say the least. However, the other side of that is that now he is $40 million in debt. He has a full-time job doing this stuff, more than a full-time job doing this stuff, and his monthly mortgage payments are a stressful $320,000 a month. And if the housing market tanks, he'll go bankrupt. Now, that may never happen. And in 6 years, what he has done is he has scaled to producing about $1 million in profits per year. So that is the power of scaling. He started with 1, he's now at 212. The great news about my cash flow combination strategy is that it has far less risk, it takes far less work and time, it is immune to a market crash, it is immune to a downturn in the economy, and it is immune to inflation. None of these things have a negative impact on this approach. And in 5 years or less, you can scale a small $5,000 account into over $1 million. And you might be surprised at what it takes to achieve this kind of growth. What if I told you that all you need to do to grow your $5,000 account into $1 million in just 5 years is average a net profit of just $20 per week based on a trade size of 1 unit. That's it, $20 a week. And if you can average $20 a week net profit, win, lose, or draw, and you follow my compounding plan, it will geometrically grow your account. In fact, let me show you this based on the current strategy that we are implementing with the combination approach. Here you can see if you average $20 a week, you can grow a $5,000 account into $270,000. That's with a very conservative application of the compounding plan. However, once you get started and you feel comfortable with what you're doing, you can switch to a more aggressive compounding plan, and your $20 a week can grow to 1.352 million. As much as 1.352 million in 5 years or less, just averaging $20 a week. And obviously, if you can do better than that, you're just looking at astronomical growth that most people wouldn't even think is possible in the trading world. But it is possible because it's based on math. All you have to do is average $20 per week. Follow my proven powerful compounding plan, which is super easy, by the way, and you will turn a $5,000 account into $1 million in 5 years or less. You will do that if you can average $20 per week and follow the compounding plan. The compounding is math. It will geometrically grow your account. That is not the if statement here. So for example, if you average a 7% return per year on a $5,000 account and compound it, you will turn it into $19,348 in 20 years by averaging just 7% annual. Now, if you compound that, you will make that money. So the question is, if you can average 7%. If you average less than 7%, obviously that compounded return is going to be less. If you average more than 7%, then that compounded return is going to be more. And that is the same exact thing with this approach. If you can average $20 per week net per one unit, then you will grow your account. It is the if on the $20 per week. So what we're going to do, since the compounding is the math part of it, that's the concrete aspect of this, we're going to focus on how to create that $20 a week. And my cash flow combination strategy is focused on generating a small weekly gain with a high probability of success and very low risks. Generally less than $100 per week if you follow the process as far as the risk on these trades is concerned. In fact, from time to time, there are some very low risk trades available with this powerful strategy. Like almost unbelievable. If you didn't understand the approach, you would think that this is not real. And this is a copy of a projection graph on a trade that I was recently filled on at a credit of 1. It's a cash flow. It's called a single combination trade. And filled on it at a credit of 1, which means that if the market tanks, I can't lose anything. And if the market moves up, I can't lose anything. And so it almost looks like a guaranteed trade. Now, it's not a guaranteed trade. This is a projection. This is a projection into the future of what this is going to look like based on where the market is at expiration. And it can be and is often wrong. And the reason that it's wrong is because they're taking certain things into consideration that by the time you get to expiration are going to no longer exist. I don't want to get into the weeds of that, but there is just a little bit of risk in this trade if you were to hold it until expiration and the market moves into what I call this dead zone. Now, I'm going to be talking about the dead zone, but very easy to stay away from that risk. And even if you don't stay away from that risk in this particular example, that risk is very small and very low probability of realizing. So this projection graph shows no risk, but let me assure you there is risk in this trade. But it is so small and so improbable if you follow the strategy that you could take this one single cash flow combination trade alone and compound it into $1 million in 5 years or less. This is called, again, a single order combination and is one of the simplest ways to get started with this powerful strategy. In my cash flow combination masterclass, I fully reveal this single order cash flow trade and many others that are similar to this type of trade. It's not just this one. There are many opportunities like this on a weekly basis. And remember, all you need is $20 a week. And with this particular trade, within 2 days of being filled, this trade was producing a $35 gain. And I exited. I did not hold until expiration. I'll get into all of that in the course material. You do not want to hold these until expiration as a general rule, but you don't need to, because with this kind of trade, you don't need as much profit to be able to compound. And there are times when this trade won't make anything, or you might even suffer a small loss, but the maximum risk is also significantly below the $100 that I mentioned a few minutes ago, which means that you can actually compound this more efficiently, meaning you can compound it faster. And $20 a week, if you can average $20 a week with this particular trade, you will actually grow your account much bigger than what I was showing. So with this trade, you actually only need to produce a net average profit of about $10 per week per unit to compound this into $1 million account in 5 years or less. And why is that? Because notice, compounding based on a $100 max risk. Well, this does not have a $100 max risk. The max risk is much smaller than $100 on this trade, especially if you follow the instructions and don't hold until expiration. It is much smaller than this, which means that all of these numbers get bigger because you're able to use a smaller max risk as in the compounding formula. And I go over that in the class, but I'm not going to just give you a single trade. I'm going to give you the tools to finding these trades. I'm going to fully reveal the secret, and I'm going to give you the tools to find all of the opportunities that exist at any given time at your fingertips very, very quickly. So for example, this is a screenshot of my very special option tool that I call PDS Trader. I had it developed many years ago. I cannot imagine trading without it, especially with all of the opportunities that are out there. It would take you forever to find all of the opportunities that exist, and this very powerful tool puts it right in front of you at your fingertips at any time. And so here I just am showing you a list of opportunities that it produced. And you can see this is another one. This is in SPX. This particular trade right here is in QQQ. And these trades are in SPX. And so you can see that there are some similar opportunities in SPX as there were in the Qs. And you'll notice I have highlighted, this is the light blue highlight. That's the first trade in the list. I'm going to go down here to the second trade in the list, and you'll notice it's very similar. There's just a slight difference between these two trades, but it looks very similar in the projection graph, and that's because there's so many different ways, so many different opportunities with this particular approach. Here's a slightly different single order combination trade. You'll notice that this one has a little bit of risk to the downside. It's not much, but there is a little bit of risk to the downside. And to the upside, there's a minimum gain here of over $400. Now in the middle, you have this dead zone. Anytime you see this sag, this is your indication that there is risk on this trade. In the middle. It's not just here, it's also in the middle. And again, I'm not going to explain all of that, but if you hold on until expiration, this absolutely can drop below zero and create a small risk there as well, but easy to avoid most of the time. And I go over that in detail in the combination master class. But you can see that there's just so many different opportunities. Here's a very similar to one that has almost $600 minimum gain. To the upside. There is no risk to the downside. It does have this dead zone here, so you do have to be cautious of that. But what I want to show you is I filtered, using PDS Trader, I filtered out all of the opportunities that had a risk of over $100 that were showing based on the projection. So here you can see $50 max risk, and that I filtered out. So I filtered out every single opportunity that had a loss of or risk projection greater than $50. And you'll notice down here that there are 152 different opportunities that have a $50 risk or less in SPX, not SPY. That would be equivalent to a $5 risk in SPY. But you can be a little bit more granular in SPX. But nonetheless, that kind of gives you an idea of how easy it is to find these opportunities. And you'll go through my extensive cash flow combination course where I include an entire session on single order combinations. And you can begin your quest to becoming $1 million trader almost immediately with this single session on single order combinations. It is the easiest to implement, the fastest way to get started on your journey to becoming $1 million trader. Now, here is why the combination trades are so powerful, and everybody is going to understand this. This is really basic logic that we're applying. It's just a matter of finding the right opportunities that execute the logic that we're trying to achieve. And here it is. Step number one, we're going to take a low-risk bearish trade. And you'll notice this particular trade, and I believe this is in SPY, and this particular trade has a risk of less than $100. It is very bearish, right? I think at the time that I took it, the market was trading a little bit higher than that. Nevertheless, we take a low-risk bearish trade, and then we combine it with a low-risk bullish trade. So you'll notice this bullish trade also has $100 or less in risk. But the profit projection of this bullish trade is actually where the risk is on the bearish. And so what we've created here is a scenario where if the market moves down, I have a $500 profit potential, if you can see that, hopefully you can see that. $500 profit potential on the bearish, a max loss of only $100 on the bullish, which means that if the market moves down, I have a net profit potential of this combination of $400. Meanwhile, if the market moves up, this has a risk of $100, so my bearish trade will lose $100. My bullish trade has a minimum gain of about $250. So again, my net profit there is about $150 if the market moves up, because my bullish trade makes more money than my bearish trade loses. And if the market moves down, my bearish trade makes more money than the bullish trade loses. This is so basic and simple. The trick and the secret is to knowing how to properly put these trades together so that you give yourself the highest probability of success. This is the resulting projection graph between the two trades that I just showed you. It creates a very high probability, low risk combination trade with significant potential gains. And obviously, what I did with this is I focused the profit potential to the downside with this particular trade. And so I'm leaning bearish on this trade. If the market goes nowhere, I should make a little bit of money, but I'm not expected to make a whole lot. And if the market moves up, I should make a little bit of money as well. So what I want to do is I want to show you some results from these powerful combinations, because the proof is in the pudding, right? And these are all actual fills. Everything that I show you today is actual fills, not hypothetical. I don't do hypothetical. All right, I trade this, and I trade this a lot, and as you're going to see. All right, so here is a double order combination trade. So you'll start with single order combination trades. Those are the simplest, those are the easiest, the fastest way to get started. But the double order combination trades gives you a little bit more breathing room if you put the trades together properly. And so what I want you to see here is one that it didn't produce very much of a profit at all, but all we have to do is average $20 a week. All right, so here you see trade number one, which was a bullish trade, and the market, this trade made $97. Trade number two below here was a bearish trade, and this bearish trade lost lost $42. And so the net on these trades was $55. It's not a lot, right? That's not a lot at all, but it is absolutely exactly what we need to do really well with the compounding. We're not looking to make a whole bunch of money on these trades. The secret is to give yourself a high probability to make a little bit of money each and every week on average, and then compound it. That is the secret. Now, that's not to say that there's not bigger trades available. There are many, many combination trades that you can put on each and every week. Some are better than others. And to prove this point, during 1 week, I took 5 combinations. And they're all listed here. These 5 combinations are all listed, all based on a single unit as far as the combination is concerned. 1 bearish and 1 bullish. And these combinations made a net profit of $448 during that week, or $89 per combination. And again, when you only need to average $20 a week, and you're putting yourself to with the ability to make 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 times that every now and again, then you're putting yourself in a very, very good position in order to achieve your $1 million trading status. So here, 5 completely different combinations. There's more than one way to skin this cat. I teach the logic, and then I show you how to implement that logic very specifically. But there's more than one way to skin this cat, and you can see in this situation, all 5 combinations made money, netting $89 per combination. Now, you don't need to trade 5 combinations. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, it can be very confusing when you start trading more than 1 combination. You need to understand what you're doing, and you need to be able to keep everything separated, so to speak, in order to make sure that you're following the instructions properly. So if we have a bearish and a bullish on, if we have a bearish trade on and a bullish trade on, and the market moves down, we want our bearish trade to make more money than the bullish trade is losing, right? That very simple concept. If we have a bearish trade on and a bullish trade on, and the market moves up, we want our bullish trade to make more money than the bearish is losing. That's what we're trying to do, and that's what this trade did, and that's what we're doing and attempting to do with all of our combinations. This is a very powerful concept as a standalone strategy, even without the compounding. But when you turbocharge it with the straightforward compounding plan, it becomes the absolute best investment or trading approach I have ever seen, bar none, with regard to the overall and best risk-reward metrics that you will ever see. It's better than crypto, it's better than real estate, and I'm not talking about in general, I'm talking about every single crypto strategy out there, every single real estate strategy out there. It's better than the best technical analysis-based strategy out there without money management. Now, there are some strategies out there that, if you apply the compounding, actually might grow the account faster, but with regard to the risk-reward metrics, so how much are you risking to grow your account that fast? How much do you have to risk on a per trade basis? How much of your overall account are you risking? And this has the best risk-reward metrics for growing your account of anything that I've ever seen. And the Cash Flow Combination Master Workshop equips the everyday average trader to become a $1 million trader. And here's what you have to do to get started. Number 1, you go through my Cash Flow Combination Master Workshop. There are several sessions to this. You want to go through every single session before you take your first trade. It might take you a couple of days. It might take you a week. It might take you a couple of 3 weeks, depending on how much time you allocate to going through the Master Workshop. But once you do, you're going to go through the single order combination session twice. I want you to go through that more than one time before you place on a single trade. Then you're going to take your first single order combination trade with a single lot size. I don't care what size account you have. You want to start with 1. You want to get your toes wet. You don't want to give yourself a bad experience by taking your first trade and making a mistake, putting it together wrong, not following instructions, getting confused. Listen, get the first one out of your way. Do it on a 1 lot, okay? Take that first trade on a 1 lot. Then follow the instructions, obviously for the entry, but follow the instructions for exiting the trade. Very, very important. The exit is every bit as important as the entry. And we have very specific, they're easy to follow instructions as far as the instructions are concerned. However, sometimes it can be counterintuitive. In other words, you're going to look at a trade and you're going to have, let's say, a $50 net profit. And you're going to see that you can actually, if you hold on to it for a little bit longer, you might actually be able to produce $100 or $150 or $200. Or if the market tanks, like in the example I gave before, $400 on a single combination trade if the market tanks. So you're going to be tempted to hold on. Well, you don't want to. And the reason you don't want to is because usually those bigger profits are the lower probability trades. And what you want to do is you want to capture the higher probability exits. Again, I go through this in great detail. And it's going to make complete sense to you why we do it this way in the sessions. But you want to make sure you follow the instructions. Then you rinse and repeat, following the same straightforward compounding plan, week after week. So eventually you'll start with 1 unit, and then as you experience success and as your account begins to grow, and it doesn't have to grow that much, you'll go to 2 units. And then eventually 3 units and 4 units and 5 units, etc., etc., etc. And then 2 or 3 months later, after you are really comfortable and have experienced success on your single order combination trades, you might take your first multi-order combo trade. And by that time, you might be at, let's say, a trade size of 5 by then, because you're following the compounding plan. 2 or 3 months down the road, you might be at 5 lots. So this is an example of a 5-lot trade. You'll notice on one side, I gained $340. That was the bullish trade. On the bearish side, I lost $65. So the market moved up. I made more money in my bullish than I lost on my bearish for a net profit of $275 on a 5-lot unit size, or an average of just $55 per unit. So again, we're not looking for very much on a per unit size, but once you get into the larger trade size, now you're starting to get into some pretty decent profits on a weekly basis. So 2 or 3 months down the road, hopefully, you'll be able to start the multi-order process and start experiencing a little bit bigger profits that are available with this. Now, not every combination is a winner. If you follow the instructions and you put the trades together the way that I show you, then even when things don't work out, you should be able to keep the losses super small. Like I do a weekly live trade session using this combination process for my traders. And you'll have access to that, by the way. You'll have 3 months access to my live trade sessions where I'm implementing live everything that I'm teaching you. Okay? Now, not every combination is a winner. And you'll notice that on this trade, I lost $130 on one side, and the other side only made $128. So I lost $2. Now, in the live trade sessions that I've done, I don't remember the last time that a combination trade that I took lost $100 or more. So our max risk, we're willing to risk $100 on a combination trade. But if you do it right, you can often keep the losses much smaller than that. So they're not all winners, but sometimes you can have a really good week as well. And if things work out right, you can actually win on both sides of the trade. So for example, here's a recent 7-day period. Most of these are in SPX. But you'll notice in the 7-day period, all of the trades made money. Every single one of them made money, some more than others. And again, with SPX, it's a little bit, it's a larger value. It's 10 times the size of SPY. So for example, this $850 gain, that would be equivalent to an $85 win in SPY. So they're not huge, but you'll notice that just because of how things worked out that particular week, every single trade was profitable. Okay, here's another combination trade. This again is in SPY, and you can see on one side of it I lost $41, and on the other side of it I made $114. So in this particular scenario, I basically made about $75 on this combination trade. And how much do I need to become $1 million trader? $20 a week. So I'm putting myself in a position, even though $75 a week doesn't sound like a lot, it does when you start compounding it. It is absolutely phenomenal. And if you can build your confidence by not taking losses, by following the instructions and giving yourself the highest probability of success, this is going to be something that is extremely fun to trade. Boring. Boring because there's not a lot of activity, but fun from the standpoint of your success rate and how you're growing your account. Okay, here is another combination trade. Again, there are many ways to do this. This one has a combined bullish trade with a bearish neutral. A bullish trade with a bearish neutral. Again, I go over this in detail in the sessions, many different ways to skin this cat. But you'll notice this particular trade is, the bottom one here is the bearish neutral. It's going to make money if the market stays the same. And if the market moves up, it's projected to still make money. Eventually, it's going to lose a little bit of money. Now, this is in SPX, and so the risk is a little bit larger here. So this is equivalent to like a 10 lot in SPY. But notice that risk doesn't happen until way up here. Way up here. And then to the downside, you are looking at about $250 risk on the bullish trade, and you're going to make about $300 on the bearish neutral. Okay, here's another one. This is, again, it's a little bit different of a strategy, but this is one I believe in SPY. Yes, SPY again. And I made $86 on one side and lost $43 on the other. So here I make about $50, $43 on this one, right? Again, here is a similar scenario to the one I showed earlier, a bearish neutral trade with a bullish trade. Here is the combination. This one was more focused on a bullish side. So a little bit of risk to the downside, not much at all, but the major profit zone was to the upside, and that's what that looks like. And so if the market stayed the same or moved up, very high probability of making money. And if the market moved down, very small risk, but there is risk on this trade. So understand, if the market moves down, you put together this combination and the market moves down, you will lose money if it moves down far enough. All right, so you're not guaranteed profits on this, of course. There are some trades where the combination doesn't show any risk, but as I mentioned earlier, anywhere you have a sag or a dead zone, there is risk if you hold on to the trade for too long. Now, this is from one of my live trade sessions, and this is back in May of 2023, just to show you that I've been doing this for a long time. And you can see here, this is in SPX, and you can see one trade I made $288. On another trade, I made $2,000. While on another trade, I lost $1,640. So between these two, I only made about $300 between these two trades. That would be equivalent to approximately $30 in SPY, which is still more than the $20 a week per one unit that we need to make. But nevertheless, I had a couple of other trades on, made $2,000 on this trade, made $305 on this trade. So net, during my live trade sessions back in May 2023, during this particular week, on one lot in SPX, I made about $2,500. All of these trades were taken during the live trade session. And just to show you again, I go crazy every now and again just to prove that you can you can take so many different combinations. There are always opportunities. Again, some a little bit better than others, but I took a bunch of opportunities, and in 1 week, and you can see this is every single closed trade during the week of 4/27/23 through 5/4/23. And this is every single trade that I took during that week in this particular account. And I think there were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 18 trades total. Here's 10, here's 8. So basically 9 combinations. I took 9 different combinations during that week. You can see the losses here. There are several losses here because we're playing both sides of the market. And for example, this combination right here did not make money. It lost about $75. And again, this is in SPX, so that'd be an equivalent to a loss of less than $10 in SPY if you had a similar combination on in SPY. But you add all of these up, all of the combinations up, and the total for the week was $11,315 off of 9 combinations. And so that's if you do the math, that's about a little more than $1,000 per combination in SPX, but in SPY that's a little more than $100 per combination. Again, how much do you need? $20 a week. That's all you need to average. So here's another one in this is a 5 lot in SPX, so that would be equivalent to a 50 lot in SPY. So once you get up to, you go from 1 lot, 2 lot, 3 lot, 4 lot, 5 lot, 6 lot, 10 lot, 12, 13, 14, 15. Maybe you start going from 15 to 20, 20, 25. That's being a little bit more aggressive on the compounding, but that will grow your account very, very quickly if you're doing well. So you go from 20, 25, 25, 30, 35, 40. Then along about that line, you start maybe trading SPX. And so here, if I went to 50 lot in SPY, then that would be a 50 lot, but I was trading a 5 lot in SPX. And you can see that this combination made $3,200 on this combination on a 5 lot in SPX. That breaks down to $65 per single unit in SPY. So again, it's not very much on a single unit, but by the time you start compounding, and let's say you get to what's equivalent to a $50 lot or a 50 lot in SPY, which might take you a year, might take you 6 months, might take you a year, depending on how consistent you're doing this and following the compounding plan, and whether you're being aggressive with the compounding or a little bit more conservative. Nevertheless, $3,200 in a week. All right, this can turn into a very solid income producing machine. Now, all you have to do, again, is average $20 per week per unit with these powerful low-risk trades. Follow the compounding plan, and you will turn $5,000 into as much as $1 million in 5 years or less. Now, I need to caution you, that's based on taking trades that have less than $100 max risk and a low probability of realizing that $100 max risk based on the bare minimum 1 unit trade size. If you take if you're trading a strategy that has bigger risks, you cannot apply the compounding table that I'm going to give you with this program. This is specifically tailor-made for this program. And so $20 a week, you at some point switch over to the more aggressive compounding plan, and you will turn $5,000 into as much as $1 million in 5 years or less because of the compounding. If you don't average $20 a week, then if you average something less, then you're going to grow your account to something smaller. If you don't ever average a profit, you get a year into this and you're just kind of treading water, so to speak, then obviously you're not going to grow your account. So it's all based on whether you can average $20 per week, and I believe I'm giving you a tremendous strategy that will give you the ability to achieve that. So there is no guarantee that you can average $20 per week with this strategy. I obviously, this is trading. I can't guarantee that. But week in and week out, doing the live trade sessions, you'll see me taking these trades, and you'll see the success level that I have with them. So this is not the Holy Grail strategy, but it is it's simply a solid, low risk, high probability approach that can be turbocharged with my compounding plan. Now, to give yourself the greatest probability of success in reaching your goal, which is $20 a week per unit, with this approach, you need to make sure you follow the instructions provided in the CashFlow Combination Master Workshop. There are risk traps that, if ignored, can dramatically lower your probability of success and increase your risk. Specifically, I've already mentioned them, the dead zones. If you hold on to the trade too long and those dead zones are sagging too much, those can actually turn into losses, and you just have to be aware of that. Again, I go over this in minute detail. You're not going to not understand after you go through this process and after you go through these course sessions. I go over these risk traps extensively. I go over the instructions in detail, and they are very easy to understand. So with this package, I am giving you everything you need to become a successful $1 million trader over the next 5 years. And here's what you get. You get the CashFlow combination strategy fully revealed. You get the CashFlow single order session for a fast start. You're going to get access to PDS Trader to find all the best combination opportunities. They're going to be at your fingertips. I have 3 instructional videos for PDS Trader alone. You're going to love those videos. You get access to Trade Partner, which is another tool of mine that I've spent millions of dollars creating these tools because of how powerful this approach is and the need to have different tools to help you trade this in the most efficient manner. So Trade Partner is another one. It's also a trading platform, so I actually execute the trades in Trade Partner, which you're going to love. But that will help you continue to improve your trades. You're going to see several sessions where I'm using Trade Partner to do that. You're going to see exactly how it works. It's going to be really fascinating for you to go through these. And then I'm going to give you 3 months access to my live trade webinars where you watch me put these trades on, and you can ask any question you want about the trades that we put on that day, or any question about the course. So I'm following through with you. I'm holding your hand as much as you need, and making sure you understand everything. You have weekly opportunity to ask questions, and I'm going to do everything I can within reason to make sure that you're putting yourself in the highest probability to succeed with this approach. It is a complete package, but it is also at a discount which is limited in time. You're getting a significant discount that is limited in time. So you want to take advantage of this as right now. Make sure that you don't let this discount go away. For most of you watching this, by the way, what you will learn in these sessions is absolutely life-changing. It's going to completely change your perspective on trading. And because your perspective on trading is going to completely change, your outlook on life is going to change. You're going to realize that there are goals that are actually attainable that would have never even crossed your mind before. So this is a life-changing program. And a lot of the material is going to be brand new, things that you've never heard or seen before by anyone else in the industry. And I get dozens and dozens, I have hundreds of these types of testimonials, like the one you see here from Albert. He wrote this in during a live trade session. And he says, "Thanks a million for your fantastic presentation. I have spent a lot of money over 40 years of trading on so-called experts who are all losers. In 40 years, I've never encountered anyone who knows options even half as well as you." And I get those all the time. And it's not that I know options as much as somebody else. It's that I understand how to practically take advantage of them. I don't get caught up in all of the academia of options. I don't care about the theories. I want to know what can I actually trade and actually make money with. And that's what I've spent my entire career focused on. And so that's why you'll see that. It's not because I'm some brainiac with regard to the academia on option theory or the Greeks. I don't even use Greeks, right? I understand them. In fact, it's because of the Greeks that I switched everything that I was doing, because there's a lot of unrealistic information that you get with Greeks. So I get comments like that all the time. But if you can understand this simple concept, if you can place on a bearish trade and you can place on a bullish trade, and those trades in combination fulfill the objective that we're trying to achieve and turbocharge the results with a straightforward compounding plan, you can do this. This is not difficult. It doesn't take very long. It doesn't take very much money. It's not difficult. But because you're new to it, it might take you a couple of 3 months to really, feel comfortable with it. That's why I want you to start off with a single order combination trade. But you can absolutely do this. You can become a $1 million trader if you follow this. If you get started today, who knows? Maybe in 6 months, you'll be like Eli, who again, during one of my live trade sessions, made this comment where he made $18,301 in 1 week, just 6 months after starting, because of the powerful compounding plan. This is what he says: I've been compounding my account for 6 months under your program, and it cashed in my best trading day under these methods. I made $18,301 this week. That's what I mean by life-changing, and it only took him 6 months to get to that level. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get to that level in 6 months. It might be a year before you have a 5-figure week. It might be 2 years before you have a 5-figure week. But the point of this is that if you stick with it and you do what it takes, the money is out there to be made. So stick with it and just keep following the instructions, keep improving, and eventually, hopefully, you'll have a similar testimony. Here's another one from M. Martella. In the course of January, I opened and closed 9 trades in the single order combos, averaging $55 per trade, including 1 losing trade. I am very satisfied with this. However, in another combination, and you'll have to remember, there are many ways to skin this cat, I closed in January 3 trades averaging $268 per trade. Hope to keep doing like this for the rest of the year. Then here's another one. I have spent $100,000, yes, you read that right, over the years, buying just about every trading course, seminar, strategy, and signal service I can get my hands on, and have pretty much seen everything this industry has to offer. I can tell you the only trader who has all the pieces to this puzzle is Ryan Jones. Let me ask you 3 questions. Where were you 6 months ago with your trading? Where are you today? And where will you be 6 months from now? Let me tell you, where you were 6 months ago, the difference between where you were 6 months ago and where you are today is based on the decisions that you made 6 months ago. And I can tell you that if you don't make any different decisions today than you did back then, in 6 months, you're not going to be any better off, right? So with the low risk of these strategies, why would you not make the decision to move forward with this? Being that I believe it is your highest probability of achieving the $1 million trading status. The CashFlow Combination Master Workshop gives you the tools, the education, the follow-up, and the highest probability of becoming a $1 million trader in the next 5 years. So I would strongly encourage you to get started today. Don't wait another 6 months to get started. Start your $1 million journey now by scrolling down and taking advantage of the discounted price. It is limited time, first come, first serve. I hope to see you in my next live trading webinar.